Hello and welcome to my brand new Bookopoly board setup. Okay, you know what? I was going to use this to try to make like crisp lines down my paper, but this thing is not quite long enough to do the whole page, and I know I'm going to hate how it looks if I draw down to like right here and then I have to scooch it down. I would much rather just see how it looks without. It's like I'm more forgiving if I don't use the tool. Like I'm more forgiving about how it looks if I don't use the tool versus when I do try to use the ruler. So, I'm not concerned with it being perfect by any means. I just know that I'm really not going to like it if I try to use the ruler and then it ends up being weird. So as you can see, I went through and laid everything out before I did this, and then this is just like one of the thicker pens that I have. That's what I'm using to outline it with, not anything fancy or anything like that. Because really, the outline of it just needs to be there. I'm going to add color in all of my stops along the way, so I don't really need any kind of color for the outside. Okay, I will be using it to draw these lines just because I went through again to try to make them as straight as possible, but they don't follow the dots exactly, so I'm going to need the ruler. So that's fine. Okay, that's the basics of the board, and then I'm going to use my smaller black pen to write all of the words that are going to be written. There are a few things that are going to stay in pencil, and I will talk about those as we go through when I'm all done. But first, I'll just go through and draw everything with my smaller pen. Okay, I've decided on the Bookopoly word. I do want that to be in color. So the way I'm going to have to do it is I need to wait for all of this stuff to completely dry and then go back and erase all of my pencil marks. And then I will be ready to add all the colors around here and write the stuff in the middle. Okay, so the vision I have in my head, these are the colors that are going to be on all of these. So then the vision I have in my head is that I will use these colors to write Bookopoly, and I really hope that it's going to look as good as I think it is, but we're going to go in the order that we go around the board, and we'll be one short because we have 8 colors, so I'm going to just throw this one in here at the end. Maybe I'll throw it in at the beginning. Yes, I will. Okay, it's not bad. I wish that it had, like, I wish I could go in and outline it in black, and I can, and I might do that. And I wish it just had more color in general around it. But for now, this is going to be fine. I am going to just draw some loose circles in there. Okay, so I tried to do a few little doodles, and once these dry, I'll go back in and color them in just to add a little bit more color in there. But what it means is if I land on a chest, then I have to read the next book in a series, and if I land on a chance, then I have to read a book off my physical bookshelf. So I tried to draw a little bookshelf, and I drew a little book right there. So now that it's all like drawn, I'm going to go through and tell you, after I erase some more pencil marks, I'm going to tell you what each of the things are as we walk our way around the board. Okay, I think it actually looks better once I got the pencil marks off of it. I guess that was kind of throwing me off as well. So anyway, I like it. I like how it looks. I do want to add some more things, and maybe I can incorporate things in from what I read each month and just keep adding to the board, and then we'll see what this board looks like for the whole year, because I'm going to start this in January, and if I do it each month and maybe I pick one thing that I loved about what I read for that month and I try to draw it or write a quote or something from it, then this whole page will end up looking like it'll just be like a year in review of my favorite things. So I really like that idea. Now the other thing that I need to write on here is that, well, we'll talk about it when we walk around the board. So first of all, there are 2 free picks on the board. So when I land on them, I get to pick whatever I want. One of them is go, and the other one is up here where it normally says free parking, but I wrote free picking. So I get a free pick here and a free pick here. Those are the 2 on the board that are free picks. Then the 4 trains that would normally be the train stops in a game of Monopoly, those are for NetGalley. So I will go on NetGalley and read a book on there. One of my goals for the new year, which, spoiler alert, will be coming out next month, my goal video, is to get my NetGalley review score down. The percentage of books that I have checked out to books that I have reviewed, I want to get that up. So that's what I'm going to be working on next year, and these NetGalleys are going to help me. Then there are 2 times when I have to read an extra book. So each month my plan is to pick 5 books from this Bookopoly board. But if I go to jail, if I land on jail, or if I have to go to jail, I will be doing an extra book. So as I'm doing my 5 rolls, if I land here or here, I will have to do an extra roll. If during the 5 times I land on both of them, then I'll have 7 instead of 5. But that's how that will go. And then let's talk about what all the colors mean. So you'll see some things are already written in here in pen, and then I have some things that are left open, and I'll explain the difference. Right here, the first 2 that we have are randomizers. So we have the TBR machine and then Hey Reader, which is another randomizer online, and I will go to those websites and pull a prompt, and then that prompt will tell me what book to pick. So that's how that will work. Then the light blue is going to be a genre. So I will go on my story graph before we do this in January, and I will write down the genres for the blue right here and this darker blue up here. Those will both be genres, and they will be written down based on my story graph. I've already gone through and made a list of every genre that I have a book for on my story graph, and so I'm going to go through and put those in there. And I will write them in pencil, and once I land on it, I'll erase that and put another genre in there, just so I'm constantly reading new genres that I have on StoryGraph. Speaking of StoryGraph, let's jump here to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are going to be the 6 books that I put on my StoryGraph want to read list earliest. So this one's number 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's what I'll do is I'll go to my story graph, I'll look and see. If I land on 1 and then I land on 3, then I will read book number 1 and book number 3 that's on my story graph or has been there the longest. So then we have the hot pink over here, and this is going to be my NPR books. So that's not written in pen because it's going to change based on where I am in my NPR read through. And we'll talk about that as part of my goal video as well. And then up here we have a new category of book of the month. So I'm going to go at the beginning of the month before we play this. I'll go to my book of the month shelf and I will randomly select 3 books and I will write them in pencil. When I land on one, I'll erase it and put a new book in its place. And that is how that is going to go. Now, as far as the actual game goes, I'm going to start out the month, like I said, rolling 5 different books. If I read those 5 books, I'm going to roll again, and I'll just video myself rolling, see what the book is, and then I'll do a reading vlog about whatever I read after I've read those 5 books. Now, if I pick a book in those 5 and you guys want to see a reading vlog about it, I will certainly do that. But for the most part, it's just going to be the TBR that I choose with these 5 books, and then after that I will roll again and see what I get and tell you about it just in a separate video. So I think that's it. Oh no, here's what I have left. Okay. For luxury tax and income tax, if I land on luxury tax, I have to roll again because that's not actually a book for me to read. And I am doing a book giveaway. So when I do my TBR, if I land on luxury tax, the giveaway information will be in that video. So you'll probably just have to comment on that video and say that you want a book. And that's what we'll do. If I land on income tax, I get to buy a book for myself, but then I have to roll again. So it does not count as one of my 5 rolls, either one of these. They just trigger something else to happen for books in general. Over here, the last 2 that I guess I forgot about, this one says Django and this one says Skeeter. These are my dogs. So if I land over here, I will put probably just a couple of physical books that I own. I'll put them down on the ground with some treats and the dogs will go and pick. And I will video all of that. So I think that's where we are. I think this is everything. I'm glad I got this set up ahead of time because December is going to be very hectic and I wanted this to be ready to go so that I could do my January TBR and have it ready to go. You guys let me know if I missed anything on here that I didn't describe or talk about or whatever, or anything that you have other questions about. And I will just see you in my next video. Bye.